Hi, you're listening to the MyBody, MyStory podcast.
Sometimes maybe thinking I should conform a bit more to the norm, and I would tell myself you shouldn't. It's, I think embrace your uniqueness and embrace your own personal talents, and don't try and sort of shoehorn yourself into something that you're not. So yeah, I would say embrace all of your flaws, and everybody's different and unique for a reason, and just to embrace that. Don't try and conform.
This is the 45 over 45 chapter, where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. Here we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we'll listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalker.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalker.com.
Hi Kelly, welcome to our studio and welcome to the project. While you're sitting in the makeup chair and Chitra is doing makeup for you, I'll be asking you a few questions. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So I'll start by saying I'm a mum of 2 teenagers, and I am originally from the UK, from Northern England, but I've been in Australia now for around 10 years. I work full-time in the corporate world for a Fortune 500 company, so very busy, and I sit on the executive board, so it's quite full-on in terms of sort of work. And outside of work, I'm also a full-time author and poet. And public speaker as well. That sort of side of what I do, it's always around social issues, so really contemporary topics, and do a lot of work with underprivileged youths, the youth community, and really trying to showcase and generate conversation around social issues. So a few different aspects: family, work, and my life as an author.
So what are you most passionate about?
I have to say I'm most passionate about the family, otherwise my family will not be too impressed. I love my family, and I've been married over 2 decades, so I'm very, very lucky that I've got a really great home life. But I am super passionate, and I always have been super passionate about trying to make a difference in the world around social issues. From very young, I was always sort of interested in trying to create impact in things that I cared about, and that comes through in the writing. Mm-hmm. So I've always written. I write every day. I write every day before bed, and it's just a habit now, and something that's sort of as easy as breathing. So that would be the passion.
So you mentioned earlier that your 4th or 5th book is on the way. So can you just tell us a bit more about that?
6 books. I've had 6 books out, so 3 of them have been #1 bestsellers, which is very cool, and they have all been contemporary urban poetry collections. And 2 of my earliest books actually got gifted in the swag bags to the Oscars winners in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So had a bit of a red carpet moment there. And I've had 6 books out in total, and each one's got a different theme, sort of that I tend to sort of have as a focal point, and they're quite varied and quite different. So, some examples would be my first book was called Graffiti Lane, and the anchor and the theme around that book was around social issues, but communicated through poetry and through street murals and the art form of that. And I used the sort of street art themes throughout a lot of the poetry, so got huge traction in the youth community, and that's an example of one of the themes. But each one of my books has got a different theme, and I just evolve and have loads of fun with it, and I really enjoy it.
So how did you start? When and why this kind of poetry and writing?
Yeah, I think when I was a child, I grew up in a working class, single parent house on a council estate. We were not particularly privileged, you know, as a family. And I always just still today find urban life and street life really interesting. And yeah, I sort of see the beauty in some of the normal things in the sort of concrete jungle out there. And I also had a bit of it, I mean, I had a tough time at school and a tough time at home. And that stuck with me all of the years, where I really want to help youths that are not necessarily from privileged backgrounds to know that they can achieve, you know, amazing things, whether it's being through their career or their education or their passion, you know, or their creative outlets, that there are different ways they can overcome obstacles and find resilience. So it definitely stems from youth. It's just part of the DNA. But I think that's why I write about social issues and urban, you know, contemporary topics. I'm not a historical fiction writer, put it that way. I'm pretty gritty and raw in style. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Very interesting, very interesting. So your books, if someone wants to read it, where they can find it?
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere?
I mean, yeah, everywhere. They're globally distributed, so you can get my books on, you know, in Dimmicks, in Harry Hartog, on Amazon, on Booktopia, Book Depository, pretty much everywhere, no matter what country you're in. If you want signed copies, you can get them through my website.
Oh, that's excellent.
And yeah, try and get a good message out to, you know, personalise them and get signed copies out. But yeah, you can pick them up in a lot of the bookstores or pretty much anywhere online through major book retailers.
Okay, so I will put the link under our podcast so everyone can find you at your website. Everyone knows that with age we change, but what positive changes have you experienced so far?
I definitely feel more comfortable in myself with age, I must be honest, especially the last couple of years. I've sort of found myself in a new, more relaxed, comfortable place with myself. And I think that's just maybe it's life experience and, you know, the different sort of life circumstances. But I find I'm embracing life more now, enjoying everything that I do, being more selective about what I do as well, so that I, you know, spend time on the things I'm passionate about and I care about, and I think that brings more joy and more gratitude. So yeah, I definitely think with age you get more comfortable with yourself and what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, and yeah, you sort of find your place a bit more in the world. So the last couple of years have been a really interesting turning point for me, which, yeah, definitely finding myself in there.
Is it to do with the COVID, isolation, or?
Yeah, I think I think there's been a couple of things. One, definitely COVID. I was working before COVID, crazy hours in the corporate world during the day, more than 5 days a week. I was working, 12-hour days, sometimes 16-hour days, and you know it doesn't take its toll when you're in the midst of it, but when you actually step back from it, it is a little insane. And then I was probably writing as well from, sometimes 9-10 o'clock at night to 2-3 a.m. in the morning, 4 or 5 hours. And then, also trying to cram in time with the family and so on. So COVID definitely paused all of those things and, gave me a reset. And it wasn't a conscious reset as such, but, moving to work from home and, everything that COVID brought in terms of not being able to travel. I was traveling in the corporate job every second week before COVID. So a lot of those things stopped and gave me a chance to just pause and to reflect and to focus more on body and wellness and outdoors and nature. And I got myself fit in the last couple of years, physically fit, and just started spending more time, definitely enjoying the outdoors, walking the dog, and just enjoying the world a little bit more than, always head down, going like crazy, 20 miles an hour, working and so on. So COVID definitely gave me that pause. The writing gave me a bit of a different shift in perspective as well. I've been writing forever, since I was probably about 12 or 13 years old, but it's really been a successful period as a writer, as an author, for the last 2 or 3 years as well. So again, being able to gain different, just different experiences out of the things that writing success has brought has been really, really fun. And yeah, again, is just allowing me to explore different creative things to do with writing and to do with the way I present my poetry on social media. I've been making short films. My son's an aspiring film director, so we make short films out of some of my written material. So a blend of the writing journey and where I'm at with the writing journey, and COVID pausing the madness that I was actually living in has given me a whole new kind of like lease of life.
Excellent. So can you describe your greatest accomplishment so far?
There's probably not any one thing. Often people ask, have you got any regrets? And I don't have any regrets. I'm a bit of a calculated and considered risk taker. So we've moved around the world a lot, traveled a lot. Myself, my husband are very fortunate. We've lived in 3 continents and seen 60 countries, and we don't sometimes even really think twice. If a new opportunity comes up, I would just embrace it and live life to its fullest. But I think there's been a few milestones where we have moved continents and we have, done something very, very different. So there'll be milestones like that. Definitely getting my signed up by a literary agent was a massive one. I had 50 rejections in the early days when I hadn't mastered my art fully, and I didn't study creative writing or anything at university, so I was learning on the go. So getting signed up by an agent was a really big thing to, there was a little bit of validation there that your writing has got some merit. And so I started going more in earnest and really, push myself to get new material produced and write about different things. So yeah, that would be a big one. My 2 kids were born in Scotland, so I love them dearly. They're amazing children, and becoming young adults, so I've got so many different ones, but what I would definitely say is no regrets. If there's an opportunity there or it's something new to try and explore, I sort of go for it. It's a good way to live.
Yeah, it's a good basis for any success. No regrets and keep moving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it keeps life interesting. I'm definitely not a stagnant person. I'm quite a high energy sort of style, so...
I know you said no regrets, but what if you could go back in time and meet your 30-year-old self? What would you tell her, or what advice would you give her?
I would definitely say don't be too tough on yourself. Even until the last couple of years, I've been my biggest critic, putting unnecessary pressure on myself, and sometimes maybe thinking I should conform a bit more to the norm, and I would tell myself you shouldn't. It's, I think embrace your uniqueness and embrace your own personal talents, and don't try and sort of shoehorn yourself into something that you're not. So yeah, I would say embrace all of your flaws, and everybody's different and unique for a reason, and just to embrace that. Don't try and conform.
And what would you say to younger women who will eventually undergo this age changes?
Life only gets better with age, I think. Yeah, I think I have a really dear friend actually who does a podcast which is called Aging Fearlessly, and I think that's a great term. I think you've only got one life, and make the most of every minute of it. And yeah, as you get older and you have more experience, and you definitely know what makes you tick, and where you want to focus your time and your energy. And so I think just embrace every minute that you have, and try and avoid the negative sort of energies and negative people and negative things in life, and embrace what's out there on offer.
The good one. So let's talk about body image and the idea of perfect body image. Where do you think it comes from, this idea?
I think there's always been, you could go back decades, and you would have different sort of pressures on the way people look, and I think there's a lot of it's just peer pressure and society thinking things should be a particular way. And I think social media is playing an even bigger part in that now, because, you know, images are so widely distributed and there's so much publicity around different looks and styles and things. So, you know, people can get pressurized by that. So I think there's always been this sort of sometimes spoken, sometimes unspoken pressure on the way people should act, look, you know, be. Yeah, and I just say, just be who you want to be and don't worry about it, and be your own person and have your own style and look, and just be comfortable in yourself, and whatever your flaws are, they're good ones, you know, they're designed, people are designed to be different.
Yeah, and what would be perfect body for you?
Probably just feeling healthy in myself, both in mind and in body. And for a long time, I was always healthy, I think, in mind. I always felt strong and felt confident in what I was doing, and you know, that's really great. But I wasn't spending a lot of time on looking after my my physical health, as in eating well and exercising and taking a bit more care of myself physically. So. Again, in the last couple of years, you know, having that pause with the COVID pandemic allowed me to spend a bit more time on body as well as mind. And yeah, actually introducing different techniques for mental fitness as well, which has been important during the lockdown. But I think they go hand in hand. You've got to, if you're not inside your own head in a good place, you're gonna put undue pressure on yourself. So they sort of go hand in hand. Yeah.
And what does it mean to you, feeling good and looking good? What comes first?
Feeling good comes first, definitely. You know, looks are surface level. I think if you don't feel good inside, you're in not a great place. If you do feel good inside, then, you know, things fall into place much easier, and you will find the things you want to do. But yeah, in my own self, I just like to feel comfortable and confident, and I don't worry about what other people think as well, which is a good thing. I just want myself to feel healthy and to, you know, yeah, just to feel good and well and fit and to be comfortable in myself. I've definitely found that place, but yeah, only over the last couple of years.
And what makes you feel the most beautiful?
I've got a couple of different ones. I love being outdoors in nature and just relaxed and in casual clothes and enjoying the fresh air, and sometimes, you know, without makeup, and just feeling, you know, free and easy outside. I do enjoy, you know, that side of things, but I'm a big lover as well of playing around with different looks and different images, which comes from probably the author world and having a teenage daughter. So I do experiment a lot with different sort of vibes and different looks of, you know, in clothes and in makeup and hair, and have fun with it. And I love as well looking for vintage dresses, especially. So I like to go for a look that's, again, it's not my look or anything, but it's no one else's look either. I just like to go for something that I like. It might be a bit quirky or a bit different. So I'm always scouring for unique pieces of clothes or jewelry, or you know, different kind of handbag, and not always new or expensive or anything. Sometimes trolling, you know, vintage shops as well to see, can I find something that's just got a little bit of a different look, and then I might create a look around that piece, you know, and have fun with it. So yeah, I've definitely gone through a few waves of that with the looks. The last book I published was called Retrospective. That was based on being an 80s child. I was born in the 70s, but, you know, I was an 80s teenager. And myself and my daughter had this whole lot of fun around, you know, 80s dress, 80s makeup, loads of colourful eyeshadows and big hair. And that was really fun. And yeah, I just like to play around with different looks and have fun with it.
That's great. And do you have any favorite quote about being a woman?
I've got a personal one that I say a lot, which is only you can spread your wings and fly. It's not so much about being a woman, it's just about being yourself, you know, and being a person, and about owning your space and not holding yourself back, and being the one, you know, who's creating your own roadblocks. Often it's ourselves that sort of can hold us back from being, you know, everything that we can be. So it's a one that I say in my own head almost every day. Somebody said it to me years and years and years ago. It wasn't a famous quote or anything, but it's the one that sticks with me. Only you can spread your wings and fly, and just not clipping your own wings, holding yourself back. I love every Maya Angelou quote. She's a very famous and beautiful poet. She's got amazing quotes out there around, if you're always trying to be normal, how will you ever know how amazing you can be? So that it's a good one. Anything that she writes, I adore. They would be a couple.
Well, thank you, Kelly, for sharing your story and coming to our studio today. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the day and your photo shoot. And welcome to the project again.
If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalker.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalker.com.